When bulking, it's always recommended to consume foods that are calorie dense. Calorie dense foods, these are foods that are packed with a high number of calories relative to their size or their volume. This makes eating the large number of calories necessary for the creation of new muscle far more manageable and effortless on a bulk. For example, 1 tablespoon of olive oil is 130 calories. That's the same number of calories as 2 large red apples. So, the 1 tablespoon of olive oil, in terms of its size, is going to be drastically smaller than 2 large red apples, right? The olive oil, it takes up far less room in our stomach and takes far less time to eat. So if you're bulking, we want to stick to foods that are calorie dense so that we can get away with eating a smaller volume of food for the sake of both time and also preserving space in your stomach so that you aren't endlessly force feeding. Now, it's important to note that I am not referring to calorie dense, ultra processed foods. We do a big dive on the effects of processed foods inside the Alpha Mindset library, but we want to strictly stick to calorie dense whole foods. For protein, these primarily include chicken thighs, 90% lean beef mince. I would recommend just sticking to the 90% because this alone is calorie dense enough. Moving forward, we have beef stir fry strips, we have salmon, we have a nice fatty cut of steak, we have lamb, we have pork, we have whole eggs, and low-fat shredded cheese. Lastly, we have whole milk. Now, I would recommend, however, a low-fat, lactose-free milk. Lactose is the natural sugar inside milk. So a lactose-free, low-fat milk is still pretty calorie dense, but it's mostly just pure protein with a little nice sliver of healthy fats with all the unnecessary fat and sugar taken out of it. A bottle of lactose-free, high-protein milk, around 1 liter, is typically around 400 to 500 calories with about 60 grams of protein. Now that's not bad at all. So these are all, in regards to the proteins, these are all animal products, high in protein, but due to their fat content, make them very calorie dense and ideal for bulking. Now, in regards to carbohydrates, we have brown rice, medijoule dates, and oats. In fact, 1 medijoule date is 70 calories and nearly 20 grams of carbs. Although it's not a whole grain, due to it being a fruit, medijoule dates pack a ton of fiber. The natural sugars from fruit, aka fructose, are sugars containing fiber as opposed to refined sugars found in, say, Coke or chocolate, which contain 0 fiber. And for the record here, the most calorie dense item on this list is by far oats. In regards to fats, we have avocado, sour cream, coconut cream, we have grass-fed organic butter, olive oil, now obviously within moderation, beef tallow, and nuts like macadamias, pistachios, and almonds. Now, yes, nuts do contain some protein, but they are a low-quality protein source anyway, and nuts are primarily just made up of fat. So if you are eating fats, I want you to do it because of their fat content and not necessarily to try and see this as a protein source, right? Eating nuts to get in protein is like going to Melbourne City to see the beach. I mean, yeah, it's there technically, but it's cold, there's crackheads everywhere, there's no waves. If you really want to go to the beach, you go to the Gold Coast, right? You know what I mean? So for the record, we'll leave all these foods that I just mentioned with their macro breakdown, that's their calories, protein, carbs, and fats listed per 100 grams inside the PDF below this video. If you're ever curious, you can always just Google it as well, and that'll take 5 seconds. One thing to note, you don't have to limit yourself specifically to these foods. Like if you want to have wraps or pasta, hypothetically, or on your bulk, then go for it. Okay? You can have whatever you want on your bulk so long as it's a complete protein and a complex carbohydrate, right? And at the end of the day, you hit your overall calorie and protein goals. The foods mentioned in this video, these are just the ones that are going to be the most calorie dense. Foods with the goal of getting back those calories with the smallest volume of food taken up inside your stomach.